No, Coven of the Black Cube is not about the horrors of three-dimensional objects, it is about the love between witches. Kind of like Witches of Brestwick. Yay, Jim Wynorski.
We're not gonna watch more of Milo's shitty movies.
Coven of the Black Cube is the newest film from independent director Bruce Longo, who you might be familiar with because he directed the necrophiliac Christmas classic A Corpse for Christmas. It was also written by Zoe Angeli, who some of you might be familiar under the name Ossuary Angel. And just like Bruce Longo's other projects, it is a shot-on-video film. However, it's not what you expect when you hear shot-on-video. Just like A Corpse for Christmas, this is less about the gore, the blood, and the guts, and more about the characters. And in fact, this one is a love story. A very messed up love story, but a love story nonetheless. Now, since this is not only a new film, but a new great film also made by an independent director, I will highly recommend you guys go check it out because I won't go into too many details. It is a story of love, lust, and witchcraft. It stars three of my favorite independent actresses at the moment: Zoe Angeli from Vania and Bruce Longo's other film, Casper Melted Hair, who was also in A Corpse for Christmas, and in this, she really shows off her range since she's not playing her typical characters that you come to know and love when you see her in the credits of a film. Her character is much more subdued, and in this she plays Gumby, the girlfriend of our main character, played by Morgan Thompson, who was in a slew of films. She's amazing in this, and I don't know who designed her outfits, probably herself, but they're all amazing. One of them, she looks like kind of a goth teacher that I would have probably really liked if she was my teacher in high school. In fact, all of the cast in this is lovely, and I fell in love with about half of them. Yes, including the boys. John Schaefer, I'm coming for that hair.
Circles and squares, pizza and video, rewind and get high.
And speaking of John Schaefer, he's probably my favorite character. He's just a dude who one day decided to turn a pizza shop into a VHS rental / pizza shop, but he also sells weed, which is the type of thing I'd love to have in my hometown.
Do you still have your VCR?
But he kind of has a problem with his wife. His wife is unhappy with him because all he does is go to work, get stoned, and watch stupid horror movies, as she calls them, and then we realize that he really likes Carl J. Suknick, and I'm kind of on his wife's side.
Fucking Carl.
Casper Melted Hair and Morgan Thompson are a couple, but they're not really the healthiest of couples. They go to a metal show one night, and Morgan sees Zoe, and Zoe just says hi, and she sees her, and she's like, oh. That's my impression of somebody being in love with somebody is, oh.
We have our ways.
Casper gets really jealous at her, but it's really just hiding the fact that she's pissed at Morgan because Morgan doesn't want to move in with her. You see, Morgan really likes her space, and I can't blame her. I also like my space. Also, this is pretty hard to move. Casper leaves, and then Morgan is sad. So she walks around the city and sees a witchcraft shop, which again, I wish I had that in my hometown, but whatever, I guess Philly just has enough of a market for witches and pizza and VHS tapes. But you never guess who runs that witchcraft shop. It's Zoe. Well, it's not really surprising since the beginning of the film is a montage of dudes getting killed by a coven of witches, which Zoe is in. They talk, and Zoe invites Morgan to go to a cemetery to go do something for one of the clients that their daughter died. Anyways, they go on in the cemetery. It's kind of like a date, but not really, and you can see there's a bit of tension between the two characters. And again, the actresses do a great job in playing up that tension and sexual tension and just this relationship they develop in throughout the film. I'm talking fast. I'm very sick, so the words are just being processed as I speak. one thing leads to another, and Morrigan wants to win Casper's heart back, so she goes to the witchcraft shop and buys a love potion that only works if Casper is really in love, which of course she isn't, so she dies. And there goes one of my favorite characters of the film. And that's where Morgan discovered that Zoe might be hiding something, because she comes into her hotel room, takes the body, and does witch stuff.
You can make cocktails?
In the meanwhile, there's also a subplot about men being found dead and dismembered around satanic or occult symbols. That's clearly, you know, the coven doing coven stuff. We know that, but the film does a good job at kind of hinting at the characters until they finally figure out what's going on. I don't want to go into too many other details other than there's a cameo by Acid Witch, and of course, David "The Rock" Nelson, but what I appreciate in this, unlike A Corpse for Christmas, is it feels like he was also toned down, which makes him less of a bother. Anyways, he's actually good in this, and not annoying. If I had a few complaints, it would basically be the same as in A Corpse for Christmas, where there's a few pacing issues, and then even though David "The Rock" Nelson is not as annoying in this, he is replaced by two people on a couch just saying random shit. I don't know who they are. I hope they're not friends of Bruce, because goddamn were they bad.
I don't think it's gluten-free.
But other than that, this movie's amazing. I really loved it. So yeah, let's go to my final thoughts. Even though I just did them.
Are you asking me on a date, Violet?
So yes, as I said, I really like this film. It is a beautiful love story. Honestly, it reminded me a lot of Red Lips from, you know, Donald Farmer, but, you know, less exploitative. Even though, yes, there are sex scenes in this, there is nudity. It doesn't feel, you know, as sleazy. Like, you can't hear Bruce in the background kind of breathing heavily like in some of Donald Farmer's work, but it is very similar in tone, and in execution, it reminded me a lot of Jess Franco and Jean Rollin's take on lesbian vampirism. Even though these are witches and not vampire, they share a lot in common. I feel like the script is really this movie's highlight. Zoe, good job. Amazing. Honestly, the characters are lovable. The actors and actresses all do a great job. I love the cameos from, you know, the people that were previously involved in Bruce's other films. There's a scene with penis torture that will live in my head rent-free for the rest of my goddamn life. Thank you, Bruce. Very cool. But yeah, I really like this film, and I would highly recommend you guys go pick up a copy. If you're into SOV and if you're into like spooky witchy movies, this is perfect for you. Honestly, this fills a hole in the independent film market that I didn't know needed to be filled. This is a very horny movie, so everything I say sounds like a sexual innuendo. But yes, John, I will pet your hair. He has long hair. Beautiful. Is that Head and Shoulders? Tell me your secrets.